Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, the IDF uncovered an explosive device that was planted by Islamist-Palestinians adjacent to the country's southern security fence with the Hamas-run Gaza Strip. Israel's intelligence minister Yisrael Katz warns that if Iran chooses to continue to pursue a nuclear program, it will face a military answer. An annual report published by the United Nations Trade and Development Agency warns that the Palestinians are trapped in an economic and jobless growth with no prospects, especially in the Gaza Strip, which the report claimed is undergoing de-development. The Israeli military uncovered an explosive device that was planted by Palestinians adjacent to the country's southern security fence with the Gaza Strip. The IDF spokesperson's unit released a statement following the incident saying, IDF troops disposed the explosive device and thwarted the attempted attack against IDF soldiers. Thankfully, no injuries or damage were reported. In its statement, the IDF stressed that the placement of the explosive device by the terrorist squad serves as additional proof that Hamas seeks to preserve the friction near the security fence and to harm IDF soldiers while deliberately using Gazan civilians as human shields and as a cover for violent attacks. That said, the IDF asserted that it is ready for a wide range of scenarios and will operate with determination against ongoing terror attempts against IDF soldiers and security infrastructure. Meanwhile, in Geneva, an annual report published by the United Nations Trade and Development Agency warned that the Palestinians are trapped in an economy of jobless growth with no prospects, especially in the Gaza Strip, which the report claimed is undergoing de-development. According to the report, unemployment in the Palestinian territories was the highest in the world in 2017 at 27.4%, with half of the Palestinian population under 30 registered as unemployed, while agricultural production fell by 11%. Furthermore, the report noted that while the Palestinian economy grew by 3.1%, these figures were flat on a per capita basis.
The economy, yes, grew by 4%, but again, it's a jobless growth. As a matter of fact, in the occupied Palestinian territory has the highest unemployment rate in the world. It has about 27.4% unemployment. And keep in mind that this is the strict definition of the ILO, which does not include those people who are no longer looking for a job because they are so frustrated. Actually, if we include that, usually the relaxed definition of unemployment, it's usually about 4% to 5% higher than the announced unemployment rate.
Specifically mentioning the severe humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip, the agency's coordinator of assistance to the Palestinian people revealed that more than 80% of the population in the Hamas-run territory are receiving social assistance from international organizations, while the unemployment rate is some 4 to 5% higher than the Palestinian average.
Half of the population in Gaza is food insecure. This is despite the fact that 80% of the population gets social assistance. That's when we're writing this report. I don't know about now after UNRWA cuts. The real income in Gaza is 30% below its level in 1999.
According to the UN agency, the major reason for what they termed a dark situation from the economic development point of view is a set of Israeli restrictions that have been installed against the Palestinian territories, primarily Jerusalem's decision to limit the number of Palestinians allowed to enter into Israel for work. In response to the report and the allegations that were leveled toward Israel, a senior Jerusalem official told TV7 that the agency's accusations against the Jewish state were a mere joke that once again portrays the United Nations as a theater of the absurd. The official added the fact that some 80% of the population of Gaza, which is run by the internationally recognized terror group Hamas, are relying on international aid through the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, points to the absurdity of the organization, which perpetuates the bad living conditions of the Palestinian population rather than creating a foundation of economic growth and job opportunities. Now to the Islamic Republic, where Iran's parliament speaker Ali Larijani revealed that his country possesses between 3,000 and 4,000 active centrifuges, a figure still within the limit allowed under the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, which is the technical term for the 2015 nuclear agreement with Iran. According to the multilateral deal, the Islamic Republic is allowed to operate up to 5,060 first-generation centrifuges for 10 years at its Natanz plant and 1,044 first-generation centrifuges at its underground Fordow enrichment plant, figures that, according to the International Atomic Energy Agency, Iran has adhered to. The rare announcement of specific data on Iran's nuclear program came days after Iran's nuclear chief declared the completion of a new nuclear facility that has the capacity of building advanced centrifuges. Iran's officials said it will increase its capacity to enrich uranium if the nuclear agreement would collapse, following Washington's withdrawal from the international deal. According to Iran's nuclear chief Ali Akbar Salehi, the Islamic Republic is keen on preserving the JCPOA, but warned that if it would collapse, Iran's infrastructure to increase the number of nuclear centrifuges has become stronger than ever. In a veiled threat directed at Israel, Ali Akbar Salehi also said in an interview to the Associated Press in Tehran that consequences will be harsh if there are any new assassinations targeting Iran's nuclear scientists. The threat comes after a string of bombings that were blamed on Israel, which targeted a number of scientists beginning in 2010 at the height of Western concerns over Iran's nuclear program. While Israel never claimed responsibility for the attacks on the scientists, Israeli officials have boasted in the past about the reach of the country's intelligence services. Meanwhile, in response to the Iranian threat toward Israel, Intelligence Minister Yisrael Katz announced that if Iran chooses to continue to pursue a nuclear program, it will face a military answer. In related news, the International Atomic Energy Agency presented in a meeting of its Board of Governors in Vienna last night with a report that once again claims, based on data it obtained, that the Islamic Republic continues to adhere to the constraints implemented by the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. The IAEA report prompted Iran's ambassador to the organization to call on the international community to force the United States to put an end to what Tehran perceives as the continued violations of international laws. He further asserted that the latest IAEA report confirmed Iran's compliance with its commitments under the 2015 nuclear deal, which is attested to transparency of the country's nuclear program. That said, the Iranian ambassador emphasized that unless the Islamic Republic benefits from the deal, it will resume its nuclear program to its full operational capacity.
While appreciating the strong support of the international community to the deal, which was also expressed by the overwhelming majority of the states in today's meeting, the Islamic Republic of Iran has always expressed loud and clear that if the deal is to survive, Iran should also be benefited from the deal.
A senior U.S. official told TV7 in response to the Iranian demands that unless Iran will be willing to renegotiate the flawed nuclear agreement as well as halt its malign activities across the Middle East, Washington will continue to use all the tools at its disposal in a responsible manner to ensure the security of the United States and of its allies in the Middle East. The official also reiterated a warning by President Donald Trump in which the U.S. leader threatened the Ayatollah regime not to test America's determination when it comes to constraints on Tehran's nuclear ambitions. Thank you for watching us. For more updates from Israel and its region, please go to our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Jonathan Hassan, keep praying for the peace of Israel and the peace of Jerusalem. We will see you again tomorrow at the same time.